Department of Justice, or how did the FBI view the incident in which Hillary Clinton instructed Jake Sullivan to take the markings off of a document that was to be sent to her?
Yeah, we looked at that pretty closely. There was some problem with their secure fax machine, and there's an email in which she says, in substance, take the headers off of it and send it as a non-paper. As we've dug into that more deeply, we've come to learn that at least there's one view of it that is reasonable, that a non-paper in State Department parlance means a document that contains things we could pass to another government. So essentially take out anything that's classified and send it to me. Now, it turned out that didn't happen because we actually found that the classified fax was then sent, but that's our best understanding of what that was about.
So this was a classified fax?
Correct.
So Hillary Clinton sends to Jake Sullivan, let me go back. Jake Sullivan says, they say they had issues sending secure fax. They're working on it. Hillary Clinton sends to Jake Sullivan, if they can't, turn into non-paper with no identifying heading and send non-secure. So you're telling me it's a classified piece of information. She's taking off the header and she's instructing them to send it in a non-secure format. Is that not intent?
Well, that actually caught my attention when I first saw it. And what she explained to us during our interview was, and other witnesses did as well, is what she meant by that is make it into a non-classified document. That's what a non-paper is in their world, and send it to us. Because I don't need the classified stuff, I just need the...
Then why take off the heading? If it's going to be turned into a non-classified document, why take off the heading?
I assume because it would be non-classified anymore, so you wouldn't have a classified header on it. I think is what she said during our interview.
So she wanted to be technically correct? Is that what you're saying? That you're...
No, I think what she said during the interview is, I was telling him, in essence, send me an unclassified document. Take the header off, turn it into a non-paper, which is a term I'd never heard before, but I'm told by people I credit that in diplomatic circles that means something we can pass to another government.
You are very generous in your accepting of that. Let me ask you, Director, did any uncleared individuals receive any classified information over Hillary Clinton's server?
Did any uncleared people receive classified information? I don't think any of the correspondence on the classified emails were uncleared people. These were all people with clearances working, doing State Department business on the unclassed system.
Did Mr. Pagliano have the requisite security clearance?
As I sit here today, I can't remember. He was not a participant on the classified email exchanges, though.
But he was running the server. He set it up.
That's a different question. I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question then. Yeah, there's no doubt that uncleared people had access to the server, because even after Pagliano, there were others who maintained the server who were private sector folks.
So there are hundreds of classified documents on these servers. How many people without a security clearance had access to that server?
I don't know the exact number as I sit here. It's probably more than 2, less than 10.
And I appreciate your willingness to follow up with this. Did Secretary Clinton's attorneys have the security clearances needed?
They did not.
Does that concern you?
Oh yeah, sure.
Is there any consequence to an attorney rifling through Hillary Clinton's emails without a security clearance?
Well, not necessarily criminal consequences, but there's a great deal of concern about an uncleared person not subject to the requirements we talked about in the read-in documents potentially having access. That's why very, very important for us to recover everything we can back from attorneys.
So what's the consequence? I mean, here, Hillary Clinton gave direction to her attorneys without a security clearance to go through documents that were classified.
I think that's what happened in fact. Whether that was the direction is a question I can't answer sitting here.
So you're parsing that one a little bit for me.
No, you were just asking me. I don't
What's
know.
the consequence? They don't work for the government. We can't fire them.
Right.
So is there no criminal prosecution of those attorneys? Should they lose their bar license? What's the consequence to that?
Well, if they acted with criminal intent or acted with some malintent.
What you're telling us is it doesn't matter if you have a security clearance or not. Because I may be innocent enough. Hey, I'm just an attorney. I like the secretary. I'm trying to help Hillary Clinton. I'm not trying to give it to the Chinese or the Russians. I'm just trying to help her. So there's no intent? It doesn't matter if these people have security clearances?
Of course it matters. That's why I said that.
But there's no consequence, Director. There's no consequence.
Well, I don't know what consequence you'd have in mind.
Prosecute them.
An attorney for receiving from his client information that ends up being classified.
I asked you at the very beginning, does there a reasonable expectation that Hillary Clinton would send and receive, if not daily, hourly, if not daily, classified information? That's reasonable to think that the Secretary of State would get classified information at every moment. She's not the head of Fish and Wildlife. So the idea that she would turn over her emails, her system, her server to what it sounds like up to 10 people without security clearances, and there's no consequence. So why not do it again?
That's a question I don't think you should put to me. You're asking, I'm talking about my criminal investigation.
But how can that, there's no intent there? Does she not understand that these people don't have security clearances?
Surely she understands at least some of them don't have security clearances.
So she understands they don't have security clearances, and it's reasonable to think she's going to be in classified information. Is that not intent, to provide a non-cleared person access to classified information?
You're mixing it up, though. I don't think it's reasonable to assume, mixing me up, sorry, it's not your fault, that someone who is maintaining your server is reading your emails. In fact, I don't think that's the case here. There's a separate thing, which is when she's engaging counsel to comply with the State Department's request, are her lawyers then exposed to information that may be on there that's classified? So,
and did they see any classified information? Did Hillary Clinton's attorneys, without security clearances, see classified information?
I sit here, I don't know the answer to that.
It has to be yes, Director. You came across 110, and they said they went through all of them.
Well, they didn't read them all. They just looked at headers.
So their excuse is, we saw the emails, but we didn't read them?
No, I think I said this in my statement on Tuesday. They sorted the emails by using headers and search terms to try and find work-related emails. We read them all.
I know that you read them all. Do you think it's reasonable or unreasonable to think that her attorneys, under her direction, did or did not read those emails? Because there were, let me go back to this, yes or no. Were there or were there not classified emails that that Hillary Clinton's attorneys read?
I don't know whether they read them at the time.
Did Hillary Clinton give non-cleared people access to classified information?
Yes.
What do you think her intent was?
I think then was to get good legal representation and to make the production to the State Department. I think it'd be a very tall order in that circumstance. I don't see the evidence there to make a case that she was acting with criminal intent in her engagement with her lawyers.
And I guess I read in criminal intent as the idea that you allow somebody without a security clearance access to classified information. Everybody knows that, Director. Everybody knows that. I've gone way past my time. Let me recognize Mr. Cummings for an equal amount of time.